What's up, YouTube fam? Welcome back to the channel. In this episode, we're going to do a Q1 update because now Q1 is officially over. So let's just real quick make it simple and click year to date. Now, obviously, as you can see, we are down roughly exactly 17%. So we started this account with 100,000 and we are down 17,000. Now, it is tough being down this amount, right? Like it's not easy per se. It's not fun. I can tell you that this isn't my only portfolio, and between all my portfolios, I'm down a lot from December up until now. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to just change my mind, right? There's nothing that's going to make me bearish about the world as a whole, as a world of investing, right? There's nothing that's going to make me begin shorting the market now. And if you see all of my positions, I am reaching a little bit with some of the calls that I'm selling right now. I will say that. I closed out like $1,000 of covered call income today, and I reinvested into this, which, to be honest, going same week selling options to me is just, it's not a smart strategy. So ideally, if I can get out of this for profit, I'll be happy. If not, then I'm just going to roll it out really far. But with that being said, in terms of where I'm at with the market, when I look at it from a higher time frame, there's just nothing that's going to make me bearish. Like at this point, we've survived some tough times the last month or two. And if you think I'm not prepared to survive another month, another two, another three, and even an entire year of this, if need be, like then you have the wrong idea of who I am, right? Like that's how you should look at your investing as well. Because yes, there is the possibility that there's this extended bear market like we had from December 2021 up until March 2023, right? But even if it does happen, like are you sitting here and gonna start? When are you gonna start shorting this market, right? And just by looking at this chart, to become a full bear at this moment, to me, it just doesn't make sense, right? You see a doji forming on the weekly. Now, the weekly has just begun a couple days ago, but, when you look at it and you see what it's coming out to be and you see that we've came down, to me, it's just, one of those things where, it's stormy for weeks and finally the clouds go away, right? Finally, there's a sunny day. You can go outside and go to the park. And that's where I'm looking at with this chart right now. That's what I'm looking at with this market right now. And ultimately, our account has taken a beating, but last week I added to this TQQQ leap, and ultimately right now it doesn't look great, but at the same time, like I feel very good about it. We have up until 2027. We have covered calls that we're selling against this and our shares. And ultimately, again, there's nothing that's going to make me start being bearish at this moment. So do I think the market bottom is in? I think it's entirely possible that we're very close. This week we have tariff conversations. And just by considering what this chart looks like, it's very, very possible that April 1st, which starts a new monthly candle, as you can see, a new monthly candle has begun on the NASDAQ futures, which this is the most important chart. At the end of the day, this chart and the S&P 500, right, the futures are the most important charts because every single stock, every single asset is going to follow their leads. So that's why you see me look at it so much on this channel. That's why I'm always trading TQQQ and IBIT because for me as a crypto investor, I'd rather be selling options on a Bitcoin ETF than trying to guess altcoins. And as a stock investor, I'd rather be dealing with a NASDAQ and S&P 500 ETF than trying to pick stocks. Now, it doesn't mean I don't do it at all, but at the same time, to me, I'm trying to collect as much premium while also receiving capital gains. And ultimately, doing it this way, in my opinion, is the best because, again, I don't want to have the wrong asset. It's hard enough to make money in this market, right? It requires patience. It requires spending time in the market. I always say time in the market is better than timing the market. And it's hard enough to do that. But ultimately, it's going to be even harder for yourself if you are doing it with individual stocks because sometimes those won't go up while the rest of the market does. Where if you're trading the NASDAQ 100 or the S&P 500, you'll never have to worry about that, right? If you look at this chart, there's virtually zero consolidation. It's just pure volatility. And ultimately, this big red candle is eventually going to be followed by big green, right? So that's why selling covered calls right now is dangerous. I will admit, I do think now is a rough time. A lot of my IBIT covered calls are pretty far out, so I'm not stressing about them. But these TQQQ, I closed out because a lot of them, they were up 80, 90%. But now I'm thinking about what I've done here, and it is a little scary. So we'll see what tomorrow brings. Ultimately, I'm hoping that tomorrow could be somewhat bearish so I can get out of these covered calls alive, because I do believe that the bottom is very, very close. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. That's my thoughts regarding the market. In terms of individual stocks, there's obviously a lot of great stocks that are completely on sale right now. When you look at Tesla, like this chart just absolutely looks like a meme coin type chart. Coinbase as well. Like these candles are so big and these reactions are so scary to me that's why like I feel safer trading TQQQ and UPRO than getting involved in half of these stocks. There's just too much involving individual people, right? You can think of the CEO of Nvidia, you can think of Mark Zuckerberg, right? And Meta, in the end of the day, is one of the best stocks. If I was to recommend any individual stock, then it would definitely be Meta. Ultimately, Robinhood as well. I have it somewhere on this list. Let's pull this out. Let's see. Robinhood right now, to say this isn't a great buy. I mean, at this point, the market, it was definitely, just by looking at it, you can say a quote unquote overbought market. And very quickly, I just don't think we're going to have another crash like this. I think ultimately it's only a matter of time before the market does turn around. Now is not the time, in my opinion, to 100% flip bullish, but it's the time to definitely be dollar cost averaging, because I don't believe this market is a market that's going to wait around for people. It'll start going right back up when the last person has become bearish and everyone is 100% bearish. And ultimately, to me, I'd rather continue collecting premium, continue using those covered calls to buy more leaps, reinvesting, and just getting more and more bullish as the market continues to go down, because eventually it will go back up. And that's why I invest this way, because I don't want to guess which stock is going to go back up. I'd rather know that I'm with Bitcoin, know that I'm with the NASDAQ, and ultimately know that when the market goes back up, I'll be right there with it, even if there is some decay, right? That's why we're collecting premium. That's why we're not just buying and holding with TQQ or UPRO, because you have to offset the decay by collecting premium. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you feel like you learned a lot. I hope you're doing okay. You're hanging in there. I hope my transparency can make you feel better about yourself. And ultimately, I hope you have a great day. Stay safe, enjoy trading, and I will see you in the next one.